In fact, they've put their survival, and it was always going to be, was this going to be a survival budget for both Starmer and Reeves? And yes, it was. So basically, they threw all the principles out for themselves. Anybody with absolutely any credibility, anything about them would have said, this isn't where we're going to go, and we're going to have the battle. And they have had the battle, and they've lost.
Britain's working class was sold out in broad daylight. Rachel Reeves stood there and delivered a budget that punishes anyone who works hard, saves, and tries to get ahead. In this video, Esther McVey joins JJ Anisiobi on the Daily Expresso and calls out the budget for exactly what it is. Then we zero in on the two leadership principles that cut through all the noise: unshakable conviction and clarity of vision. When leaders have these two, a nation thrives. Before we get into the details, if you love diving into political issues and enjoy hearing a principal take on them, then hit the like button, share this video, and subscribe to join the conversation. It will help our channel reach a wider audience.
Budget and a complete betrayal of working people. You'll also see that it's the socialists now that have won the battle in the Labour Party, and it's going to take the country back to benefit Britain, and it's introducing the politics of envy again. It was anti-aspiration, anti-success, anti-business, anti-farmers. It was a war on social mobility, and that's how it is viewed.
So you say this budget was a betrayal of working people. In what sense?
Because before the election, people will say Keir Starmer lied. And that's how he won the election. He said, I will not be taxing working people. Absolutely, I won't. In fact, they were wanting to reduce the tax on working people. It wasn't just Starmer saying that. Obviously, Rachel Reeves said that. Wes Streeting said that. Darren Jones said that. They all said, we are for working people. And what have they done instead? They have taxed them to the hilt. They said maybe they'd do £6.8 billion worth of tax. We're at 68 billion and counting. And they're forcing about 680 million workers into the basic rate of tax, nearly 1 million into the upper rate of tax, and 4,000 into the additional tax. It has been an absolute betrayal. Now, you will have seen what went on at the budget. We all watched that agog, didn't we? I know it had all been leaked and briefed, and there had been kite flying, and then obviously the Office of Budget Responsibility put it out as well. But there were cheers at two main points during this budget. Cheers for the removal of the two-child benefit cap and cheers for the mansion tax. But later, the bit you didn't see, and this is where the PLP, the Parliamentary Labour Party, have their meeting, which Rachel Reeves went to, there was huge cheers again at those 2 points. And this is where I'll tell you, and when I say the Labour Party is not New Labour, it is not Blue Labour, it is now Corbyn's Labour. And
How so?
well, I'll explain. If you remember, only 16 months ago, there were 7 rebels, all who wanted the removal of the two-child benefit
Zara
cap.
Sultana being the biggest one
Okay,
there.
so you have Richard Bergen, you have John MacDonald, you had Ian Byrne, Rebecca Long-Bailey, Afsana Begum, Imran Hussain, and Zara Sultana Wright. And they are all Corbynistas. Now, at the time, they lost the whip.
Yeah.
This was not what Reeves and Starmer wanted to do. They did not want to remove that cap, and they were hoping, if you remember, to make £5 billion of savings within the growth of the benefit bill. They didn't. It is now Labour policy. So it is quite interesting that Corbyn isn't in the party, and yet it is those 7 Corbynistas who've shifted the dynamics, basically, of the Labour Party, 400 of their MPs, to do their bidding. And that's why I say it is now the party of the hard left, the far left, the socialist left, even though Corbyn and Zara have left to set up their new political party. But that is what they've left behind. Why? Because when he was leader, a lot of those people would have been selected as potential candidates to be the MP at the next general election. And also the membership fundamentally changed to become Corbyn-style members. And that's why that shift is now reflected in, and, basically Reeves and Starmer collapsed. Whatever they wanted to do, they didn't. Remember, Starmer's always said, but put country before party. They didn't. They've put party before country. In fact, they've put their survival, and it was always going to be, was this going to be a survival budget for both Starmer and Reeves? And yes, it was. So basically, they threw all the principles out for themselves. Anybody with absolutely any credibility, anything about them would have said, this isn't where we're going to go, and we're going to have the battle. And they have had the battle, and they've lost.
Wow, this is why it's good having you on the show, because we don't see any of this stuff on TV, all the numerous TV shows with all the politicians going on there. But literally 2 months ago, maybe even less than 2 months ago, people were saying Labour have swung so far to the right, they're trying to out-reform reform. And now from the budget, it feels like they've gone fully to the far left again.
Yeah. What happened there? I think Starmer, what he did see is, which is true, hemorrhaging their votes to reform, particularly in seats they wouldn't expect to. So in parts of North Liverpool, in St Helens, Wigan, Bolton. So he's seen that we're losing votes here to reform. So he tried to do that speech, didn't he, on immigration.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, because it went absolutely sort of belly up with his MPs, he tried to say, I hadn't read the speech before. I delivered it. I didn't realise it had echoes of Enoch Powell. I didn't realise this. So he did a U-turn. So when he's tried to do something, he hasn't been able to deliver it because his party hasn't let it. I will also say it's been very lazy politics and policy forming, because he shouldn't be just doing it that day with the speech.
Yeah.
The full time he was in opposition, he should have been setting the narrative for where he was wanting to go. He doesn't. And that's why, again, they did so much kite flying now for everything. The party brings them to heel every time.
Yeah.
And they're not doing the hard work to get a policy through. They haven't thought it through. And that's why they've lost.
Let's go back to the two-child benefit cap, because you actually were one of the people who worked on the team to bring that into effect.
Exactly,
initially.
yes. Yeah.
So why did you bring it into law back then?
Okay.
And why is Starmer now taking it off when it seems majority of the country don't want it to be taken off?
So when we were bringing in the two-child benefit cap, at the time, again, the benefits bill had ballooned. It had been under sort of Labour, and then there'd been a financial crash. And we were looking at fairness within the benefit system. So you looked at how many children do people in work on average have, or what's the sort of maximum number they have. And actually, the birth rate in the UK has fallen. It's on average about 1.45, but most families, if you're going to have it, is 2. So first of all, that's your starting point. If people in work have to think about their finances and think about what they can afford, this too needs to be reflected if you're on benefits. So that's one. The second reason is when you're on benefits and you have more and more children, it's not just the benefits bill that goes up, it is also the housing bill. And you might remember at that time, you'd see people who are on benefits with houses with 5 and 6 bedrooms. Some of the stories in the paper, there would be 2 houses they got to house all their children, because actually that said, this isn't right. And then the other thing is, once you've got that much benefit, the odds are you will never come off benefit. Once you're on that much money from the state, you could never get a job that would replicate that, 20, 30, 40,000 pounds on benefits. Because remember, that would be after tax, so it could be 80,000 pounds. You are never going to. So what we had to say is, no, you have to live by the rules of everybody else, because that is fair. You can't have people earning, right, having less of a lifestyle than those who are claiming on benefits, and those people are paying for those people on benefits. And that's where it came about. So it was agreed, it was approved, it was brought in. And actually, from that, as well as the support and the help to get people into work, the number of households without anybody working went to the lowest numbers on record. So it was a combination of, this is the limit, and also what conditions we expect, or what we expect you to do if you're on benefit. And it is living within your means, and it is trying to get a job and getting in a job. And that was it. But with this removal now of the two-child cap, the increase on average for 560,000 families will be about £5,300 each. So at a time, the people who are working are going to lose anywhere between 800 quid if you're up to 50,000 to £2,000 if you're over 60,000. These people are going to get 5,300. And this is where people are saying it does not work, it is not fair. And I have to tell you, I speak to people, I've got constituents, I'm listening to the phone in radios of the morning, 6 o'clock, so I know they are up and awake at 6 o'clock, and they're saying, this is not right. I'm doing a 6-day week, I'm putting in 12-hour shifts, and yet I've got people next door who aren't going to work. The state is paying for them. They can have any number of children now. And what's worse, if they're on disability benefit, they've got a mobility car, a motability car, and they change that every 3 years. Who's the mug? Who is the mug? It is us going out to work all the time. And I say no. People in the right are the people going out to work, because we believe in aspiration, we believe in success. That's what we need to do, not have people on benefits. And that's why Kemi was exactly right yesterday, saying you're taking money off workers and giving it to people who are on benefits. Wrong, wrong, wrong.
Yeah.
Rachel Reeves' budget was a betrayal of the working class. It amounted to deliberate sabotage of everyone who simply wants to live independently by working hard, saving, and achieving success through their own efforts. This government has sent the clearest possible message. If you work hard and try to get ahead, we will tax you to the grave and beyond. Then hand that money to people who have no intention of doing anything with their lives. People perfectly content to stay at home while someone else pays their bills. When politicians say the state will look after them, what that actually means is that you, the taxpayer, will look after them. The money does not appear from nowhere. It comes from the same people this budget is crushing. This kind of policy can only continue for so long. Sooner or later, it has to stop. Because no nation prospers when its people are denied real opportunity to grow and thrive. Opportunity is not pulled from a hat. Real growth does not come from manifesto promises crafted to sound pleasing. It comes from leaders who possess a clear vision of what genuine success looks like, not from some ideological fantasy that has failed wherever it has been tried. We do not need capable people living on benefits while the working class pay the bill. We need those people to contribute and carry their own weight. Leaders need to align themselves with these two essential principles if they want to see real growth and transformation. First, unshakable conviction. That is nothing less than character. The backbone that refuses to bend simply because bending would be easier or more popular. Stand on principle, and even if you lose everything else, you walk away with your integrity intact. Second, absolute clarity of vision. Knowing precisely what success for this country must look like and never allowing ideology, pressure, or political deals to distort it. Character prevents the vision from being sold out when the heat is on. Clarity of vision prevents character from becoming mere obstinacy. Combine the two and a nation can finally move forward. Reeves and Starmer repeatedly claimed they would put country first. This budget proves it was party first. Every time. Simply to keep the far left quiet and protect their own positions. Britain needs leaders who know exactly what they want and will not shift the moment the wind changes. Leaders who can face pressure while standing on principle. Leaders who understand that if their stance costs them everything, their integrity and credibility remain untouched. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. If you do not know where you stand and what you stand on, you will fall for anything. Here's my challenge to every leader and every person who aspires to lead this country. Define what real success for Britain actually looks like. Make that vision crystal clear. Then find the character to stand on it, whatever the pressure, whatever the cost. That is the only way back to making Britain truly great again. If you have benefited in any way from this video, please subscribe, like, share, and be sure to leave us a comment.